Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy August. I can never remember the date. I say it August 14th. And then I have to always look down at my phone. Thursday, August 14th, 2025. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day, whether you're here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad. Like our guy David Terry is saying, smash that like button, kill that like button, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter/X, the number one source of Tampa Bay sports right here. I appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. Benny, you're always first. But 30 minutes before the show, that doesn't count. Questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them there at the bottom of the screen. As always, follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube. We're on all of your favorite podcast platforms too. So as much as we are here on YouTube, also on the audio side, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on iHeart as well. How ironic is that I'm on the iHeart Radio app? So go check it out. Download me there. Let's get those downloads up as well. If you can't take the video with you and you want to just hear the audio side, I don't blame you. I got a face for radio. But yes, audio on Spotify, Apple, and iHeart too. I need to get those podcast numbers up too. So if you can do that, that would be greatly appreciated. A great show for you guys today on the program. As always, at 12:30 today, John Sabol, our pal from Fox 8 up there in Cleveland, is going to give us the latest on the Shedeur Sanders situation, as well as everything Cleveland. I want to ask him about the Emmanuel Clase incident as well. We were having this conversation, if you missed it, on the Beckles and Recher podcast yesterday. Is betting ruining sports? Now I just saw Michael Porter Jr., who just got traded from the Nuggets to the Nets, and we know his brother was one of the people that got bagged for illegal betting, betting against himself in the NBA. And we saw that in the major leagues. Now there's two players, both with Cleveland, that are out because of what they did, and letting people know, like, hey, I'm going to throw a ball on this pitch, so put as much money as you can on the first pitch of that inning being a ball. And you see some of those pitches way the hell outside. And Ian and I had a pretty good conversation about this yesterday, and I don't think it's going to stop. I think it's going to continue to go. I think you're going to see more situations like this. Do I think it's going to be rampant where you're going to see tons of incidents like this? No, but I think you'll see a couple of them each year. Now, with DraftKings and FanDuel and the live betting being such a prevalent part of how we consume sports nowadays, I'm not even talking about fantasy football. So to me, it's, fantasy football has been here before, gambling was legal in so many parts of this country. But I look at how they don't even hide it anymore. Like, the odds are on the ticker on the bottom of every show, except this one right here. I'm in the minority, and I know that. I don't need betting to enjoy sports. I know some people do. I'll enjoy everything, and I know the Premier League starts this weekend, and I cannot wait. And I'm getting up at 7:30 in the morning to watch Manchester United. It has nothing to do with me having money on the game. But again, I know I'm the minority. I know this is how it's going to grow the interest in some of these sports and some of these players. But it's the perfect example of a slippery slope, in my opinion. It's a slippery slope because you have so many people now that are talking about betting on TV. And what do you think? You think the players, the people that are actually a part of deciding the outcomes, aren't going to want a piece of this action? It's almost like they have the book. It's like the book from Back to the Future, right? When you understand what the outcomes of all the games are going to be. I mean, you're the players. You're the ones that ultimately decide the contest. And even if it's just one thing, and even if it's just one person, I mean, how can you really nowadays govern that? Because it seems hypocritical too with how much money is being put in to the promotion of the gambling aspect of sports. So I I don't know if it'll ever be rampant, but I think it's going to be a steady black eye on all sports for a long time, probably for the rest of sports, probably for the rest of history. As always, a big thank you to our sponsor, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956. You see the promo code right there. Scan them. Give them a shout. Any residential or commercial needs, my guy Russ and the family over there at Honest Hammer will be able to help you out. I'm going to be out there with them tomorrow morning and to be able to go and check out one of their custom homes. Can't wait to do that. So make sure you're following me on social media at JRecher. We'll check that out. Hammer chimes in. Betting is ruining the games, it seems. As an ex-pro umpire, honestly, the reviews can overturn and change all the bets, a.k.a. the outcomes sometimes. You're right, pal. It is a major problem. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. There's going to be more examples of that where you're going to start looking at things and you're going to start wondering, is that genuine? Is that real? Because then later on, you're going to go, oh, it might be a Tim Donaghy situation. Remember the referee from the National Basketball Association. So, yeah, it's something that I don't really think is going away. So I'll talk to John Sabol about it. It's a long-winded way of saying we'll talk to John Sabol about that at 12:30. At 1 o'clock, Aaron Guillen, the captain of our Tampa Bay Rowdies, is going to join us on the program. Big night. It's the original era night, Saturday night at Al Lang. It seems like forever since the boys have been back there. So a big matchup. Again, all the information at rowdysoccer.com. Aaron Guillen will talk to us about kind of how the season has turned around a little bit with Dominic Castellato now as their new head coach, and what the leadership crew of him and Leo Fernandez and also guys like Forrest Lasso and Lewis Hilton, what they've been able to do to kind of help turn this baby around. So we'll chat with him. And then at 1:30, our pal Lynden Blake, she's going to join us from Outkick to talk about what happened last night. Taylor Swift joining in the New Heights podcast, Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey. I know our guy Dolan, you definitely tuned in. Dolan, you're out there. I know he's watching. If he's not, he'll tune in a bit. He'll say, oh, no, I didn't watch it. I was trying to see if I can push him to just watch it for a minute. I tuned in at about 7:30 last night because I wanted to see how many people were watching live, right? And at the time that I tuned in at about 7:30 when I was at practice, there was 1.2 million people streaming it live just on YouTube. It's insane, man. It's insane. But listen, it was I watched the first 20 minutes of it. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it was kind of the story of her and trying to get her master's back, and her and Travis Kelsey and them getting together and learning the game of football. I didn't take it too serious. It is what it is. I'm not a Swiftie. I don't hate Taylor Swift. It is what it is. But I just, things like that. When that many people are interested in something, I mean, you got to take notice of it, whether it's your thing or not. It's incredible. Those numbers are incredible. What's going on, Bart Hill? Hope you're well, my friend. Again, everybody out there, kill that like button if you can. And like and subscribe on YouTube, man. All those subscriptions getting higher and higher. We're trying to get 5,000 by the end of the year. That's what my nephew Lawson wants. We'll see if we can get there. It's going to be a tough climb as we're at 1,700, but we'll see if we can get to 5,000 by the end of the year. The Buccaneers up there in Pittsburgh, joint practice day at 2 o'clock. Todd Bowles and the crew will be speaking at 4 o'clock later on today, so we will discuss this tomorrow. A big show tomorrow on the program too. Let's get into that real fast. I want to make sure I have everything down. So tomorrow we have 3 huge guests again tomorrow. I just gave you the guests for today. The great Ira Kaufman's going to join us tomorrow from Joe Bucks Fan. 12:15 he joins us on the program. Bada bing, bada boom. Realest guy in the room. 12:15. The Sage, JoeBucksFan.com's own Ira Kaufman joins us on the program. Also, at 1 o'clock tomorrow, the great Titus O'Neil joins us on the program. Thaddeus Bullard, the ambassador for the WWE, the ambassador of all things Tampa Bay sports, Tampa Bay everything, is our guy Titus O'Neil. He joins us at 1 o'clock to talk about King's Court, the show on Bravo, the dating show with him and Tyson Beckford, and one of my favorite college basketball players of all time, Carlos Boozer. So he joins us at 1 o'clock. And then 1:30, Tim Benz joins us, our pal from Pittsburgh. I was on his podcast yesterday to talk about Buccaneers and Steelers. He joins us tomorrow at 1:30 to give us an update on Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and all things Steelers. David Terry, heard some rumors Alex Isak may transfer to Liverpool. What more do you want, David Terry? You got Ekitike. You got freaking Florian Wirtz. You got freaking Milos Kirkic. You got freaking Jeremy Frimpong. I mean, there's only so many places that these guys can play. If you're an Arsenal fan, you got to be pissed because Liverpool wins the Premier League last year, and they got substantially better. Out Trent Alexander-Arnold, see ya. They finally get a number 9, their first number 9 since Bobby Firmino, and even though he wasn't a traditional number 9, a big-time goal scorer, he worked really well with Sadio Mane and Mo Salah, and you still got Mo Salah, and you still got Szoboszlai and McAllister and Gravenberch, Virgil van Dijk and Konate and Allison, and I'm talking too much about Liverpool. I don't like you sons of bitches. But David Terry, don't say I don't know about Liverpool, baby. And how about Richie P? With you being a soccer aficionado, I love phonetic spelling. What do you think about the Rowdies staying in St. Pete? St. Pete building a multiplex that could house sports, tennis, concerts, and the Rowdies. Richie with the $20 super chat. Thank you, Richie. And if you guys want to contribute via the super chat, we'll always get your question on. And again, I can't do this. I can't continue to do this without the super chats, without the sponsors like my pal Honest Hammer. So Richie and everybody out there that's ever contributed via the super chat, every little bit helps. So Richie and the crew, thank you so much for your contribution. I'm just thinking out loud with you having a pulse on the soccer stuff. Would be interested in your thoughts. Back to your question here. I think that would be a great idea. As much as I love that, or much as I think that baseball would probably be better on the Tampa side. I've said that. I don't really say it too much because it is what it is. If it's a good enough product, I think people go wherever they want to go. But there's something about being on the St. Pete side for the Rowdies that I really like and I really love, and I think it vibes really well with that side. I think when you're talking about downtown St. Pete, when you're talking about everything that's growing down there and all the relationships that they have down there, I don't think that's a terrible idea. I don't like what we just heard about something recently about, all the stuff with St. Pete, and they're like, we're going to repurpose Al Lang into a concert venue and this and that. And it was like, whoa. No. That's not going to happen. And they quickly took that out of there. We're not getting rid of Al Lang, right? And if you're going to get rid of Al Lang, it better be, quote unquote, getting rid of Al Lang because you're making it better, or you're crushing it when it comes to a huge venue, right? Going forward for soccer and other events, because that's what they definitely need to do. If they're going to build something new, it needs to be a venue. And you're going to get this all across sports now, right? Where a new venue that you're going to build is not really just going to be for that team. You're going to have to be available for concerts and other events and Super Bowls and WrestleManias and things like that, Royal Rumbles. And that's what you're going to have to do. So that one, if they would build it, would it be that big? No, I don't think it would ever be that big, but something where it could be another added concert venue, another thing for events, maybe something that's open air. And that's probably going to be too much money, but I would love that. But as long as the end goal, Richie, is to keep the Rowdies here in the Tampa Bay area, and in my mind, specifically in St. Pete. Chris did not hear that, buddy, but I'm looking into verifying that. Hopefully that is not true when it comes to Riedel Anthony. There is some news that we're, not to that extent, but this is from Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. We heard this yesterday. Todd Bull said that our guy, Antoine Winfield Jr., did not practice, hasn't practiced the last couple of days, and he was sore, lower leg, is from what he said. But Rick Stroud tweeted out just right before we went on air, Bucs safety Antoine Winfield Jr. has hamstring tightness, and the team is being very careful with their all-pro safety. Pretty good news considering. Okay, hamstring tightness, not the worst thing in the world. But once again, we want to make sure that this team is as healthy as humanly possible going into the 2025 season. And we've spoken about this before, probably the last couple of days even. Antoine Winfield Jr. is such a huge part of this defense. I mean, you could argue that he's the best player on this defense. I mean, he's the one guy. if you tell me out of the all 11 starters, who's got the best chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year this year, it's Antoine Winfield Jr. And I don't think anybody out there is going to dispute that, just because the way he impacts the game. Interceptions, fumbles, big tackles. He has the knack for making big plays when the team really needs him to. So his health is paramount going into this season. And we want to talk about getting incrementally better defensively. What can this team do to really take that next step to get a better seed, right? Win the division. Not just win the division. Maybe get the number 1 seed. Get yourself a bye. Maybe get yourself an opportunity to get some rest for some of these guys as you get into the postseason. Maybe a guy like Antoine Winfield Jr., but him being healthy, you have to take whatever precaution there is to make sure that stays the way it is. So that is fantastic. And could have been a lot worse, I think, from when you hear like, lower leg, you don't – coaches are so vague, right? They're like, I don't know. But a hamstring tightness, so nice and easy. That shouldn't be a bad thing as well. Just keep him out. And listen, still got the second preseason game coming up this weekend, this Saturday. You have the one next weekend against Buffalo, and then you have a week off before you go. So you're not in too bad of a shape. I think this is probably one of the better times for this to happen. You'd rather it happen now, or rather now than 2 weeks from now, like right before the season. So I'm not too worried at all. One guy to keep an eye out for, and I've noticed this in practice, and he is a guy that was mentioned and he was asked about yesterday after practice from Todd Bowles. Again, Bucs and Steelers joint practice at 2 o'clock today. 4 o'clock is when Todd Bowles will speak. But one guy that he was asked about yesterday is Elijah Roberts. And when you look at this young man, and I remember him because he went up against the USF, and I'm like, man, this kid can play. This kid can do his thing. And 6'4", 285. When you get him, he's like, when you watch a guy like this play, maybe he'll jump off the page. Maybe he won't, right? He's 6'4", 285, so he's not a small guy, because you're not going to see he's not going to get a ton of opportunities unless something's, up with Vita Vea or Logan Hall or Kalijah Kancey, guys like that. You pick him in the 5th round. But I tell you, man, he's a guy that every single time I watch him, and I saw this the other day on one-on-one reps, just against some of the guys on the Buccaneers, he dominates. He dominates the backups for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dominates them. So this is a guy, if he can get some more opportunities going forward, I think he's going to make the most of them. I really like that the way that the Buccaneers address the defense, and I said this after the season last year, everything has to be put towards the defensive side of the ball. And I know they drafted Emeka Egbuka, which surprised a lot of people, including me, but that, listen, that's why Jason Licht gets paid the big bucks. But you drafted Dave Walker, you drafted Roberts, you drafted Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish, and there's so many different guys on the defensive side of the ball. And then, you're getting back guys like Sirasi Dennis. You're hoping that, Tyke Smith can take another step forward, and Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to be healthy. Hassan Reddick, you addressed that in free agency. But I just love the depth on that defensive line. And when people say like, I don't like the depth on the defensive line, I mean, I don't hate it. Not at all. Not at all. Because you got to figure Logan Hall's going to be in there early. You got Vita Vea, you got Kalijah Kancey. Greg Gaines is a solid professional backup that's going to be in there. He knows exactly where he's going to be. And Elijah Roberts is a guy that hopefully can take that next step forward and just sneak in and get some sacks and really play, be a disruptor when he's in there kind of with that second unit. And remember how effective a guy like Nacho was, Raheem Nunez-Roches, a couple of years ago. I think Roberts has got even a bigger, I think he's even like kind of mounds above him. And Nacho had some really good reps for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I like the defensive line where it's at right now. They just got to stay healthy. And then Brewer and Green and some of these guys that have been there the last couple of years, they're serviceable. It's not on them that, the Buccaneers haven't been able to rush the passer. So for me, I got no issues there. I want to answer this question before we talk some Rays baseball as well. Lady Evil. So if the Rays getting new ownership, are the Rowdies automatically part of that deal since they are owned by the Rays? So this is a discussion. I don't know if many people have actually talked about this recently because you know that where the Rowdies talk comes in this town. You know what's funny? Somebody hit me up on YouTube the other day, and they were like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I think your show is way too much about hockey, and you need to talk more about the Rowdies and the Sun and the Rays and the Bucks." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, I think you should listen a little bit more because I think you just might have caught a bad show. I think you caught a show. All right, that never. Benny's like, that never happened. All right, let me see if I can find all. I want to put this person's name out there. Do I? No, because I'm not trying to be this. Let me look at my notifications so you don't believe me. Okay, yeah. Hockey seems like that is most of your content. As fans, we want to hear about the Bucks, Rays, Sun, and Rowdies. Just a suggestion. They didn't mention USF. So that's the way it goes, man. No, man, we're talking everything on this show. Everything on this show and beyond. Definitely the Rowdies and the Sun. There we go. All right, so answering your question, Rays and Rowdies, yes, they're part of the deal together. So who the only yeah, and that's okay. It's all good. It's all good. It was just funny. It's ironic. And I was like, dude, you got to listen more than once. And especially because we don't even talk too much. Like yesterday, we talked hockey with Eric Erlinson because of the new name of the arena. But I mean, other than that, we really haven't talked too much hockey in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, just the way it goes. And all right, so Richie, like we just mentioned this, Rays to Tampa, Rowdies stay in same team, seeming to be the perfect fit. It could be, but to answer your question, Lady Evil, yes, I got confirmation on that a couple of weeks ago that yes, whatever deal happens, and hopefully it happens sooner rather than later, when it comes to the Rays and the Rowdies are part of that deal. So the Rowdies will be part of whatever sale goes through, whether it's to this dude up in Jacksonville or somebody else. They understand that the Rowdies are a part of the deal when it comes to the sale of the Tampa Bay Rays. Do the Rowdies then move to Tampa, right? Like you think about it. Ideally, would you hate a stadium that housed the Sun and the Rowdies? I wouldn't hate that. I think that would make a lot of sense. I'm all for convenience, right? I'm all for convenience. That's why we live here in the Tampa Bay area, right? I mean, I say this a lot. People are like, why do you live in Tampa? And you're so far away from your family. It's convenient. I love it down here. I love the people down here. I love the weather down here. All the relationships I've been able to build. I mean, whether it's coaching or whether it's being in the media, I love it down here. But it's convenient. It's if you don't enjoy it, then you're going to go somewhere else. One other thing that I've really enjoyed, and I want you guys to be cognizant of this because listen, we don't know when it comes to the Rowdies, right? I mean, excuse me, when it comes to the Rays, the good news, right? Good news and bad news. And hold on, I want to just check something real quick. Okay, no, we're good. When you're a Rays fan, right? Unfortunately, there's always that but when it comes to your team. Yeah, well, these things are good, but you're just waiting for the shoe to drop. And I know it sucks. And I've been saying for years, you guys deserve better than that. But with that being said, we got to live in the moment. And when I say live in the moment, the one reason that we got to live in the moment is because of this young man right here. We're talking about Junior Caminero. Junior has played in 159 games last season and this season. So you kind of think about that as a 162 game season, right? He's still got 3 games left, and we're talking about a 162 game sample size. And just listen to these numbers. Over the last 159 games, right? Again, this is 2024 and 2025. Junior Caminero has 160 hits. He's got 40 home runs, and he's got 102 RBIs. 37 walks, yeah, a couple 138 punch outs, probably a little bit too much. I look at an OPS of 803, an OPS plus of 121. But to me, it's 40 home runs and 102 for a guy that is 21 last year, 22 this year. I enjoy it. Enjoy it. One of the big things that the first ownership group for the new ownership group of the Tampa Bay Rays is going to have to figure out is how in the blue hell you're going to pay Junior Caminero, because he is the prospect that is going to lead this Rays team into a new generation, a new era. But he's got to get paid. And it doesn't look like he's going to take one of those sweetheart Roman Anthony, Wander Franco type deals where he's going to get all that money right now as a youngster and get, $200 million, when if he waits a little bit, he'll get $400 or $500 million. So it's again, if you're a Rays fan, I know you look at this whole thing and you go, no, not again. We don't want to lose this guy, because that's one thing that I really hope changes going forward. And for people that want to talk about, like, support the team at all costs, support the team, it's tough to invest in anything when you know that's something that, like, down the road, it's going to end, and even maybe abruptly. When you know that a relationship is only going to be 5 years, are you really going to love, like, let's say I say this to you. You're going to date a girl, and I'm going to tell you right now, hey, you're in your 30s, but you're only going to date her for 4 years. You're not going to marry her. You're just going to date her for 4 years. And you know that right now. Are you going to really go all out? Are you really going to try to look for the future? You're going to look for the positives. So you just kind of enjoy it as it is. But there's always going to be a cap on how much you love her and how much you care, right? That's kind of where we're at with these Rays players. When it comes to the Rays, it's like, okay, we really want to be invested, but we don't know when it's going to end. We know inevitably players can't play forever. But I can tell you, as a kid that grew up in New York, not one time did I ever think, you know what? Derek Jeter might play for another team one day. That thought never crossed my mind one time. And I understand the reason with the, obviously it's a different scenario when it comes to the finances and things like that. But regardless, I mean, the Rays trade away players for other reasons too. Not even because they can't pay them, but because they think, like, let's capitalize on them as an asset right now for trade value. I mean, the fact that if you think about the last 2 years of the Rays and think about a guy like Randy Arozarena, and the excitement that guy brought to the team. Randy Land. We're going to talk about Randy Land years from now, and people are going to laugh at it. People are going to look back at it with reverence. Remember when the Rays had mohawks, the blue mohawks? That was kind of cool. People look back at it now, it's like, it's kind of weird. I thought it was, hey, it's a rallying cry. Do whatever the hell you want. I'm not doing it. But Randy Land, people are going to look back at that and go, yep, and then they traded him. So it sucks. I get it. When you look at the situation with a guy like Junior Caminero and a guy that you're hoping can be part of the future of this team. But unfortunately, you really never know what the future is when it comes to the Tampa Bay Rays. You just don't. And I hope the next ownership group realizes that, is that you want to be able to commit to these guys, not just with your financial, but just your energy. You want to know that these guys are going to be here for the long haul. And we're going to talk to our guy, John Sabol, about that, because I think Cleveland is in that same type of boat right now. And they have a player in Jose Ramirez, which is, would a Cleveland fan be surprised if they traded a guy like that after trading guys over the years like CC Sabathias and Francisco Lindors and guys like that? The fact that Jose Ramirez is still there, I love that. I want guys to play for their team their entire career, because that is what's going to build fan bases and build generations of, enjoyment of you being able to go to the game with your dad and you being able to go to the game with your son. And that's how you pass. Baseball is a generational sport. It's about family. You pass it down generation to generation. And the way that you do that is by building those bonds with these players that you have. Hopefully it's something that the Rays can kind of turn the tide on and they get better at. But if that doesn't happen with Junior, all I'm saying right now is just enjoy it while we can. Enjoy it, because the kid is amazing. All right, let's bring him in. Going up to Cleveland, Fox 8 News. Our good pal, John Sabol. What's going on, Bal? How are you?
What's going on, brother? How you been?
I'm doing well. I want to ask you before we talk some Shador stuff. I want to ask you about that with Jose Ramirez because you get that up there in Cleveland where it's like we saw with Frankie Lindor's. You got to move him. You bring in Rosario and Jimenez, and now neither one of those guys are with the club anymore. But what's the thought process when it comes to a guy like Jose Ramirez? As far as his long term, is he going to stick? Because I am a little surprised that the Yankees or somebody else didn't try to do whatever it took to bring in, in my mind, a top 5, top 10 player in the game, a switch hitter, and just a guy that is I just love watching him play. So thoughts on players in Cleveland, and is there kind of a lack of love and commitment to the team because knowing that these guys can get moved, and also the Jose Ramirez situation?
Well, that's a loaded question, Jay. We could talk an hour about that topic. I'll leave this. I'll keep it as short as I can because you don't have all day. Jose Ramirez is probably one of the most untouchable top 3 players in the history of Cleveland, and that will never probably get traded.
Wow.
LeBron would be there, and Jim Brown would be too. That's where they are in terms of respect, fan base. Let's say the Yankees will throw out the Yankees. Let's say the Yankees had the top 3 prospects ranked by Baseball America, MLB Pipeline. One's a hitter, one's a pitcher, one's another hitter. Cleveland still probably wouldn't make that move. I'm not kidding, because after all of the moves that they have made, all of the backlash dating back 15 to 20 years of guys that have left for free agency, that being in a small market not to resign. And then you take a guy who arguably left $100 to $150 million left on the table just to stay with your franchise that no one expected him to do, who has no ego, who is the most normal, guy you'd probably go have a beer with, who everyone gravitates to, ownership, front office, people rave about, leadership. He is, in this day and age in sports, you don't see that often, ever. And that's why the mold was broken with him. And that's why I don't think he'll ever get moved unless he really was fed up with everything. And he's not. He loves it here. That's why he came, re-signed 3 years ago for the big contract and left $150 million on the table. He's probably the most underappreciated superstar in the game.
No doubt. For
a number of reasons. You're playing in a small market. Baseball's different now than it was in the 90s when we grew up, when you saw all those big names. The sport's changed in terms of just lack of run scoring and all pitching heavy and too many analytics that are causing things, and free agency, and you name it, list goes down. And he doesn't do many interviews, locally here. I mean, he speaks English, but when he does them, he'll do them in English every once in a while, but sometimes he'll have his interpreter there.
Right.
And I think sometimes that can maybe hurt the connection with people, but it doesn't hurt it here. Maybe outside of Cleveland, but it doesn't hurt it here. The people are beloved. He's beloved here. And I've had conversations with him. I mean, it's just, he is just a rare breed, man, of no ego, absolutely no ego. It's just crazy. And everyone just, from the guys that get called up, middle relievers, just rave about his leadership and rave about who he is as a person. Now, to your point of talking about dealing somebody like Stephen Kwan was talked about, right?
Yeah.
And that's a different story. I mean, look at all the guys Cleveland's traded because they know they can't afford players. Like they traded back-to-back Cy Young Award winners, Cliff Lee and CC Sabathia in 07-08, and they traded Lindor, who was never going to re-sign here with that contract. And that trade didn't really work out well, the return. But if you look at the return they traded for the year before with Mike Clevenger, they hit on that trade. They just, fleeced the Padres at the time. I mean, they've made a lot of good moves, but they've also made moves that they probably should have either done earlier or, came out as a wash.
Yeah.
Obviously, the worst trade they probably have made was with the Rays, Junior Caminero, and Chris Antonetti. Yeah. Chris Antonetti has openly said, "Yeah, we screwed that up. Drop the ball on that one." So, or how about the Aaron Savali, Kyle Manzardo trade 2 years ago? When that happened, I remember thinking, Well, we knew what we had in Savale, and I'm thinking, the Rays are really good about picking out guys and trades, and they are so. I think the Rays. I rarely see the Rays miss on a trade. They missed on that one.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
And I remember talking to Brian Anderson about it when it happened, and I'm like, Brian, what do you think of this kid? And he raved about him.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's hey, it's baseball. You never know what's going to happen especially with star players like that. And for Junior Caminero, who's just playing the lights out, I hope he stays with Tampa. And I'm glad that when this new ownership comes in, they evaluate the players where to put the stadium, obviously, and make all the right decisions. Because if there's one fan base, if there's one region that desperately deserves that, it's Tampa Bay for sure. The whole region needs that.
You got that right, buddy. And what Cleveland needs is to call my guy Parker Messick up, all right, man, from Triple. Get him up there. My guy from Plant City. I've known him for freaking 20 years. Yeah. Get him up there. Get him up there. He started in the Futures game, so hopefully he's up with you guys sooner rather than later. I want to ask you about the Emmanuel Clase thing, because we were having this conversation, Ian and I, yesterday on our podcast about Michael Porter Jr. Recently said on the podcast that betting is ruining sports. Because his brother was one of those guys that got flagged by the NBA. And, you and I being big basketball fans, like that's not like, we could see that. We're like, yeah, okay. A guy can legit, if you're under in points is 10 and you got 7, you're like, oh, hammy, you're out for the game. They're going to take precaution. And if you tell 2 or 3 of your friends, like, hey man, put a boatload of money on the under, I'm not playing tonight. How can we avoid that? Like, I don't know if we necessarily can. Because betting is so prevalent everywhere now. What was the backlash like with that, with the pitchers there in Cleveland, especially Clase, who many people thought was the best closer in the game?
Well, and he was last year, and you being New York, this. Clase had numbers last year that actually had a better season statistically than Mariano Rivera's best year that no one talked about. Really talked about. That's how good and dominant he was last year. In terms of his ERA, I think Mariano had a better walk to strikeout ratio, something like that. But anyways, he's the best closer in baseball, right?
Yeah.
When the Luis Ortiz thing went down, I was actually on vacation, and I remember texting people like, "What is this?" And like, "Oh my gosh, like what happened?" And then the Clase move happened. So let me paint you this picture. I was in Cooperstown, New York, for the Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. CC Sabathia got inducted, but I was also there for Tom Hamilton.
Nice, yeah.
So he got the Fort C. Frick Award, which goes to the Hall's honor for the top broadcaster. It's a prestigious honor. So I was there with Tom and his family. Know Tom and his family really well. His son is a reporter at my station, so I've got.
Nice.
It was great to be there with his family. Very blessed and very honored to be there. And I'm sitting in this auditorium. This opera house that's set away from the hall, like 10 minutes away, and they're doing the Fort C. Frick Award ceremony. And your boy Joe Torre walks in, Bob Costas walks in, Robin Yount comes in, Jim Thomey's in there, Mark Shapiro, former Indians GM, now GM, president of the Blue Jays. And I'm sitting back. There's only a few media members there, and I'm sitting back, and 3 seats to my left is Guardians president Chris Antonetti and his daughter. And the Guardians were playing a doubleheader that day against the Royals. And it was game 1. And I'm game casting it too. And I look over and I'm like, hey, Chris, and Chris is game casting it. And as he would, right? And the ceremony leaves. I go to the media center and Clase blows a save. And my photographer and I are like, oh man, all right, game 2, let's get him. And then the next morning, we're now back home in Cleveland. And the news breaks, and we later find out that the Guardians had got word that, or I guess Stephen Vogt had said something afterwards that he knew something was going to happen, but they weren't sure what, or something along those lines, and he pitched him anyways. It's something like that. And I wondered if Antonetti the whole time, I'm like, man, does he know this is about that?
Right?
Did he know about this? Like, how was he? And he was. I gotta be honest, he was a little more not as talkative as he was before. So I wonder if that I can only theorize that maybe he had that on his mind. When it happened, though, everyone was like shook. Like, really? Do we have this have a pandemic on our situation?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like, it's not one guy.
That's where your mind goes, right?
Yeah. And then Vogt talked again like the next day, and everyone. And they were in Kansas City, so they weren't here locally, and I wasn't there obviously. And just hearing and talking to people, they were really upset about it and not happy. And as far as I know, the organization has not talked to either one of the guys since it all happened.
Wow.
When the suspension went down, they had not talked to him. Now, they could have talked to him maybe in the last week or two, but like the first few weeks, there was no communication. They cleaned out their lockers in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I heard that.
But think about this. When a guy gets suspended for more than like, let's say 10 or 15 games, let's say someone gets popped for something, or you're out, like a PED thing, you're out 60 days, your stuff's going to get cleared out anyways. If it's a 5-game thing, your stuff's not getting cleared out. But if it's for an extended period of time, that's like almost standard procedure, right? So, but everyone looked into that like, uh-oh. And then you just kind of get the vibes around like the clubhouse was like, what is going on? And then you added the trade deadline was like 2 days away.
Yeah.
And it was just an uncertain situation there. And just talking to some people and talking to some of the players, like no one wants to talk about it because they're that upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't trade Quan. They traded Bieber, which we all expected in the minors, goes to Toronto. And then they just go off on this, the third best team in baseball off the All-Star break. Then they went on this run. And it's just like they're doing this without one of their better relievers, or the best reliever in baseball probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of their best starters. And it's like, oh my gosh, their bullpen's actually pitching better. The setup man now, pseudo closer, is Cade Smith.
Yeah.
I call him Jaws because he looks like Jaws from the James Bond movie. He's got that big head, and listen, no one knows where this is going to go. They're both, Ortiz and the Class A are suspended through August 31st. Ortiz's suspension got extended, and organization doesn't know. They haven't gotten any word from MLB. I will say this. I did a story for Fox 8 News 2 weeks ago about Ohio Governor Mike DeWine wanting to put a bill on the to pass a bill to restrict prop betting here in Ohio. Now, Ohio, gambling is legal. You can do it on your phone. You can go to a casino. You can go to a sports book.
It's like here in Florida. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, but Ohio has very limited prop bets that you can bet on versus other states. So they already have it limited. But that particular one prop bet that is alleged that has caused a lot of the issues of the first pitch ball that Class A got allegedly, involved in, that threw up the red flags, was one that you could bet on. And I think someone they found, I don't know, Jay, like 22.
Oh, they flagged it. Yep.
They flagged it.
Mm-hmm.
So Governor DeWine is trying to get this placed. So who knows how long it's going to take? Actually, I could tell you, it's a long process. Just like any time you look at local government trying to make a bill become a law, it's going to take a while. So you're not going to get this resolved till after baseball season at the earliest. So you're probably looking at potentially maybe December, January. So they're trying to limit this because of what happened with this MLB investigation. Ohio.
So is Class A done in Cleveland, you think?
I think if he is found guilty, Jay, I don't think he's done in Cleveland. I think he's done in baseball.
Wow. That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know how, think about it. How could a team bring you back with that?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like you say, and I have this conversation a lot, right? Where everybody's not treated the same, right? But you know what I mean? So like Class A is going to be able to get away with more than you and I, right? Because this guy is one of the few people walking the planet that can throw the ball 102 miles an hour, right? So yeah, for Cleveland, yeah, but let's say the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox or the Dodgers, they could go and like, hey man, past transgressions, but come over here and throw 100 for us, because if he helps win, we're looking at Antonio Brown, right? Like people,
right? But don't you think what's the cardinal rule of baseball? What's the number one rule that you can't do?
Well, if you can't bet on the game, I understand. Like if he gets suspended, but I'm saying if he's not suspended for life, right, and he's not on any type of list, because of how good he is, because he can throw the ball as hard as he can, and you compared him, and a lot of people last year, you're talking Mariano Rivera numbers. So will people look the other way, right? We had that conversation. We had that conversation about Wander Franco like months ago of all the terrible things that he was able to do. Would another team take a chance on him because he's so young and he's a switch hitting shortstop? Maybe, but they're not even going to let him back in the country, so we don't have to worry about that, right? For me, it comes to the list. Like, will he be on somewhat of a restricted list? He could be, and then we don't have to worry about that. But if at some point it's like, all right, well, he gets suspended. And he gets suspended for, let's say, 2 years. Then he comes back and then he does these like open workouts. And it's like, well, he's touching 99 on the gun. Like somebody's going to pay him to bring him in, man.
Yeah. And you never know, right? In this day and age, for sure. Money talks, right? But I like that. I would wonder to think if you get popped for something and it comes out as legit, like he did it, he, whatever. I don't know how a team would still bring him back because of that's first off, it's a cardinal rule of baseball. You cannot bet on sports, right? And that's a form of betting. 2, you're a liability. What if you do it again? Does Major League Baseball and the NFL or the MLBPA Players Association have any regulations and guidelines? They don't, as far as I know. I don't think they do, because the betting went legal after that last MLBPA, which we may come with a work stoppage next summer. Maybe that will be enforced then. But I don't know, Jay. You bring up a good point. It could happen. Who knows? Let's just see where this goes. The team's not saying much. MLB's not saying much. They're still doing their investigation. If he comes out as being like, hey, you're guilty of doing this, he's done in Cleveland. He could be done in baseball, in Major League Baseball, in the short term, long term. Who knows? I think if one thing's taught us is that the Pete Rose thing was a lot different.
Yeah.
Baseball still never brought him back.
No.
In a lot of ways. It took him a long time to start doing the media obligations for things. That didn't happen until the 80s or late 80s, early 90s. So who knows? It's really unfortunate. You're making all this money, and if you're guilty, and if it happened, it's like, is it really worth that?
Right.
Because it's funny, you look at those first pitches, it's like, man, and then after that, everything's in the zone. Is that a coincidence? So, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm with you, buddy. All right, let's talk some football here. And Shedeur Sanders, we spoke a lot about him last time. We got a lot of last time you joined us and we talk about Shedeur, man. You got a lot of great feedback on Shedeur. And man, I hated the narrative surrounding going into the start, because you have these national names and people wanted to blame Stephen A. Smith. And listen, Louis Riddick was saying the same thing. Robert Griffin III was saying the same thing. These are guys that have suited up on Sunday, saying that the Browns were setting them up to fail. And I go, man, they got 4 quarterbacks. Like, well, I don't know if they're why would they want to set him up to fail? They want the guy to do well, and maybe he does well and he starts and he's that guy, or maybe he does well and you trade him. Like, I don't know how the Browns throwing Shedeur into a situation that he's going to fail in is going to help the Browns at all. Then he goes out there, and I thought he did pretty damn well, man. I really thought he asserted himself well. I know he's dealing with the injury, but what did you make of the entire narrative around they were setting him up to fail? And then what was kind of the I guess the kind of aftermath of his strong play in that preseason opener?
Like I said to you on your podcast, back in after, was that mandatory mini camp? Was it June? They're not setting up for fail. It's a classic example of, I'll say it, national media not knowing what they're talking about.
Exactly.
It's just, you got a hot take. Let's see what you got. You got a good click or retweet. See what blows up. They're not setting him up for fail, because you really got to look at everything what they're doing with him. I mean, the offensive system is so complex, completely different than what he did at Colorado. Dylan Gabriel, everyone would be like, well, or saying, well, why is he ahead of him in the depth chart when Shedeur's clearly outplaying him? True, fair. However, Dylan Gabriel's system in Oregon and even at Oklahoma, and even his early times at UCF, kind of mimicked just a little bit of what the Browns are doing, and he picked it up faster just because he was used to those systems. Therefore, the system fit his talent and his skill set and adapted it quickly. So that's why he was ahead of him on the depth chart. And they drafted him in the 3rd round versus Shedeur in the 5th. So you're going to take the guy that you took in the 3rd before him. It's still early. This isn't November. Shedeur, let's talk about this real quick here. He's not playing. He didn't practice yesterday. He practiced early, strained his oblique. They're out in Philadelphia. Didn't practice today. He's not playing Saturday against the Eagles. That's a major bummer, because you wanted to see him capitalize after and grow from Carolina. Dylan Gabriel will likely get half those team reps on Saturday in Philadelphia. He's dealing with that hamstring. He's not sure if it's 100%. Kenny Pickett has a hamstring injury. He's not 100%. Dylan's farther along from him. Joe Flacco's still going to be the number 1 quarterback and will be week 1 starter. Not official, but he will be.
Yeah.
Shedeur has made growth. His mechanics were tweaked. He has some bad habits, but what rookie doesn't? Players like him. They've gravitated towards him. He's picking up where he left off at each practice. He's throwing poise and confidence. There doesn't seem to be an ego with this kid for knowing what the media would like to portray, and with coming from a Hall of Fame popular dad and Dion, he just seems like he's like a likable, I would like to say always smiling type of kid. I mean, these guys just rave about him, and they rave about Dylan Gabriel as well. On the field, though, there's a big difference in the play. Shador's had a much better camp than Dillon Gabriel, as he's had the whole time since being in Cleveland, since rookie minicamp, OTAs, and mandatory camp in June. They're going to work him along slowly. They don't want to rush him. There's no reason to rush him when you have Joe Flacco there. There's a reason why Joe Flacco is not going to take any reps in the preseason. You don't need to get him hurt because you already have 3 other guys hurt.
Right.
You got the Rams next week here in Cleveland. Who knows to say what they're going to do. I fully expect Kevin Stefanski to make Flacco the starter probably next week for week 1, just to kind of, you got to start laying things out. Where does that line with the other 3 guys? We'll know that after Saturday, once Dillon Gabriel gets a lot of that action. We need to see him in live reps. You got to see what he can do. The biggest knock on him has been his size. When they go 11 on 11, Dillon Gabriel tends to struggle. 7 on 7, he thrives. The ball is better mechanics than Shador. It's crisper, but the accuracy is nowhere near Shador so far.
Right.
They think they can work with both quarterbacks on their weaknesses and really polish them up. They both feel that way. And, there were talks. There was a report last week that came out that after the Browns took Shador Sanders, teams were calling the Browns to try to trade Dillon Gabriel because they had him high on their list because you have so many quarterbacks. Let's see what you want for him. Miami was rumored to be the team that was going to take him before the Browns did, which is kind of interesting when you think of Tua and the Dolphin system. Yeah. The size, it's almost like the same guy in a lot of ways. So I think everything that they're going by design, the Browns have had a plan. They're sticking with the plan. They're not being swayed by one preseason game. I'll say this about Shador. He played outstanding last week. First 3 drives was against the Carolina's first-team defense. They didn't score. In the second quarter, when Carolina pulled their first-team defense and they pulled their second and third teamers in there, that's when he scored. That's when they scored 2 touchdowns. He played 3/4 of the game, 3 quarters. I think he started the beginning of the 4th maybe, and then Tyler Huntley played. Or maybe he was ending at the 3rd. But regardless, I mean, the guys he played well against, those are first-team defense.
Right.
Think about this too, Jay. He has still yet to take a rep with the first-team offense this camp. He has never done it. Not in OTAs, not in mandatory camp in June, and not now here in, what is this, day 14 of training camp. That tells you something. Not that he's not good. They're just slowly bringing him along. And he is relishing in the fact of being patient. He is openly talking about it. It's my time. It's my time. I'm learning. I got things to work on. I know what I need to do. My time will come. I am now in the study mode here. He's picking the brain of Flacco. He's picking the brain of, Kevin Stefanski and offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, former Alabama star and Notre Dame OC. So he's taken a long time. Fans don't like it. It's Cleveland, man. This is quarterback since 1999. There have been 40 different starting quarterbacks.
Oh my God.
So you can understand the backlash. And then the national media will pick it up and be like, what are the Browns doing? You get it. I totally get it. But so far, so good.
Before I let you go, man, Ohio State, how confident are you guys in the Buckeyes going into
defending the natty, brother?
Jay, it's so hard to defend it, to repeat. I mean, last 2 teams in the last 25 years have done it. Georgia and Florida?
Yeah.
It's hard. Quarterback's going to be the key, obviously, for them. People are talking about the offensive line as being the strength. That was the weakness last year after all those injuries, and they still did well.
Yeah.
The defense, they've got a lot of new starters, but guys got a lot of rotational reps last year. They haven't named a starter. I think it's going to be Julian Sand, who was the number 1 recruit from Nick Saban. I think there'll be a playoff team. It just depends how far they go. It's so hard to repeat. The one thing is, this year in college football is wide open because Ohio State, I'll throw Texas in this, even though Archie Manning wasn't a starter because Quinn Ewers was there. But Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Texas, all have new quarterbacks. The only schools in that group that are predicted to do well, Penn State and Clemson, are the only ones that have returning quarterbacks, and that's huge. Mm-hmm. And Penn State's quarterback Drew Allers from Cleveland here. He played high school football with my nephew. I know him in the family, and it's going to be a good season. I think it'll be a playoff team. Obviously, I think they'll probably, when it's all said and done, they could repeat. They could come up short. I think they'll be, at best case, I think they'll finish in the Final Four of the playoff and see where they go. But it'll be a fun season, that's for sure.
Can't wait USF, and Ohio State in the national championship game. One of those days, buddy. You covered some interesting games over the years down here in the Bay Area. That's for sure.
I mean, USF's trying to think. You and I arrived late after the BJ Daniels era.
Yeah,
right?
we did. Yeah,
we were a couple years late there when we both got to Tampa.
Quentin Flowers, you were here for Quentin Flowers, right?
Yep, Quentin Flowers. Quentin Flowers. Who else on that? Rodney Adams.
Yeah, Marlon Mack. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's had a nice career in the pros.
I remember doing a one-on-one Marquez Valdez-Scantling, his first training camp practice, and I remember going up to USF's SID Brian Segrist. Is he still there, by the way?
Yes, he is still running the show.
Great SID, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, well, where's Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Because he transferred from NC State.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a dude with the tree trunks for thighs. And I looked and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen a wide receiver with thighs the size of my torso.
Yeah.
That dude was cut. And I mean, we got here just as when Willie Taggart had the bus. Remember the bus?
That's right, buddy.
We had some pretty lean years and some good years, and that's program's coming up, man. And I think I want to say the head coach is a Cleveland guy, is he not?
Alex Golish, is he a Cleveland guy? I don't know.
He has a Cleveland connection.
We got to look it up. I'll let you know. I'll definitely let you know. But they have the hardest first 3 weeks in college football. They play home to Boise State, and then they go to Florida and go to Miami.
That's tough, man. That's brutal. I looked it up.
Crazy.
He is an Ohio State guy.
Okay, there we go.
And he's from Columbus. He went to high school in Westerville Central High School in Columbus.
There you go, buddy. We always have that Tampa Cleveland connection. John Sabol, the one and only. That's who we go to for our Cleveland news. We miss you down here. Give my love to your better half and the little ones, and we'll talk soon, partner. Thank you.
Absolutely, Jay. Thanks for having me on, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, buddy. The one and only John Sabol. He is the man. Great guy, man. One of my best friends that I've made here in the media. And John and I, we could talk about literally anything for a long time. Basketball, baseball. He had me John had me doing something that I hate doing, and that's defending Michael Jordan, which I cannot stand. I could not stand Michael Jordan growing up because he ruined my childhood year after year after year. I didn't watch Space Jam. I've never owned a pair of Jordans. No, not happening. When you're a kid like me and you're so invested in your Knicks, and every single year Jordan would break your heart. That's a sports fan, man. And just, again, to this day, really, it's tough. It's tough. Got me defending him against LeBron. That's a tough conversation to have. But our buddy John Sabol up there, Fox 8 Cleveland. Guys, don't forget to make sure you hit up our friends over at the Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC, 813-244-0956. You see the QR code right there. Let's take a look at the website real quick before we get to our guy, Aaron Guillen, who's going to be joining us on the podcast from the Tampa Bay Rowdies. But real quick, Honest Hammer, I show you guys this every single day. When you look at what they got going on, you have any residential or commercial needs, they got it for you right there. You want to deal with people that are like you, Tampa Bay sports fans, and Russ and the crew over there at Honest Hammer Custom Builders. They know what it entails when you're trying to make a huge change to your home. Again, it's commercial and residential, right? Pre-engineered metal buildings, bathroom and kitchen remodels, new and commercial construction, interior and structural renovations. I'm going to be going by there tomorrow morning to one of their custom home builds to see what they're all about. Honest Hammer General Contractor Company, CGC 153-116. Again, you can email them, thehonesthammer@gmail.com, 813-244-0956. You get a discount if you tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. And again, this is the type of dude that you want to invest in. We always talk about supporting local here on the podcast. Every single group that I'm around or that I'm invested with or that I partner with, they are Tampa Bay through and through. And that's exactly what Russ and the Honest Hammer are all about. Again, I'll be by there tomorrow to check out one of their custom builds. So follow me at Jay Recher and you can see what they're all about. 813, you see the number right there on the screen, 244-0956. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast and get a discount. You got commercial, you got residential needs, or if you just have a question, hey, I'm thinking about remodeling my kitchen and remodeling my bathroom. What can you do to help me? What should I do as far as looking for the right things. I don't want to spend bad money after good money or bad money after bad money. Russ and the folks over at Honest Hammer will be the ones to be able to help you out. So again, follow me on all social media platforms at Recher, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. And then, of course, like and subscribe on YouTube as well. Got to get those subscriptions up. Dave Velasquez, how bad is Antoine Winfield Jr.'s hamstring now? Just a strain. He should be fine. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk to El Capitan himself. It's our pal, the one and only Tampa Bay Rowdies captain Aaron Guillen on the program. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
What's up, Jay? How are you? Everything good?
Yes, sir, man. Doing well. How was training today?
It was pretty good. Obviously a bit hot, humid, but we're used to it now at this point, but no, everything was good.
Yeah, you guys, man, I don't envy you. Even me just standing watching you guys training is hot. I'm like, you guys, you're on a level above, man, for sure. What has it been like now with new coach? I got a chance to talk to him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but also in person, which was really nice over at the training facility a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Coach Dominic Casiato, what's the big difference with him now? Let's just say from when he first got there and to now, how has he kind of changed things there on the training ground?
Yeah, obviously, I think you could see it on the field that we're gluing a little bit better. Obviously, the results are still not there, but that's something that we're working towards. And obviously, we're in here every day working towards that goal, our first goal, which is to make the playoffs. But no, obviously, he's great around the facility. He's good with the guys. He likes to make a personal connection as well, which that helps on and off the field. But no, it's been great to have him here as a new addition.
One of the things that he and I were talking about is just the table and the way it is. And unfortunately, it is the way it is right now. But it's crazy because we've seen this in the USL Championship in the last couple of years, man. You just get into the playoffs and crazy things can happen. And the way that you guys have the experience and the talent, is that kind of the mindset of like, hey, we know the table doesn't look great right now, but as long as we give ourselves a chance to make the postseason, that anything can happen?
Yeah, we know how this league works. A lot of us have been in the league for a very long time, and unfortunately, we lost the A final to the last seed.
Yeah,
and I believe it was 2021. And it doesn't matter what seed you end. It's just a new season when playoffs start, and the best team from the beginning to the end is the team that takes the trophy.
Yeah, no doubt. What was it like going through the change there, right? Because I tell you what, I had a lot of love there for how the transition went, right? And how Coach Steve Coleman came in, and he was the interim coach, and what he was focused on. And I saw you guys after one of the games, and he wasn't trying to come in, from my perspective, to like upset the apple cart and this is my way. He was focused on pride. He was focused on learning about the club. He thought he was coming in here as an assistant, and he came in as an interim, and he kind of just tried to make sure he was reinforcing you guys with playing the game the right way and doing it for the badge. What was that transition like going from, where Robbie to Steve and now to Dominic, and how Steve was able to kind of like keep you guys afloat before they made the decision to bring Dominic in?
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter who comes in. I think everyone does it in the best interest of the club.
Right.
Obviously, Steve got put in a position that to become the interim coach, and I think he did a great job by bringing us together and being more of a family, and everything that he brought to the team in those couple of months, I think was great. And the club decided to bring on Dom, and now it's a different coach, but the mindset is the same. We know what this club and this badge holds, and I think we have a big responsibility for the city and the club to start performing and giving the city what they want, and we need to make the playoffs no matter what.
What about yourself? Being the captain, I know how that armband can wear on people and be heavy, and it's easy to be the captain. Everything's going well when you guys are constantly at the top of the table. But, a season like this, I know the kind of competitor you are. I've known you for years now. And, how has it been for you, like being able to kind of navigate through that and, to be the captain on the field and to have to kind of wear this entire season through all the ups and downs?
Yeah, I think in a way it's hard, but at the same time, it's easy knowing the process that we're doing and the way we train every day. And that at some point it's going to come, the result's going to come. So I think it's it's just trusting that process and showing up every day and trying to do the best I could possibly do and transmit that to the rest of the guys that things are going to turn and be positive our way. And I just think you need to show up every day and give 100% and be yourself and keep enjoying what we're doing. I know the results are not there, and it's hard to sometimes come in and stay positive, but that's something you need to do every day. Just be positive and try and get better, and things will eventually turn our way.
No doubt about it. And then I'm just, I'm looking at the table here. You're winning 3 of your last 5, which is, you actually have one of the better, winning percentages over the last 5 games than anybody really in the USL Championship on the Eastern Conference, which is kind of wild. And you look at it like you're only 4 points out of a playoff spot, and you have 2 games in hand over 8th place Rhode Island. So if you win both of those games in hand, heck, you guys will be in 7th or 8th. So it's not like, all right, you're sitting there at the bottom of the table and you're like, we're games behind and we're 12 points behind. Like you're a good couple of matches away from being right back in the thick of things. How important is to not get too far ahead of yourselves and kind of just take it like match by match. And if you do that, then everything will take care of itself.
Yeah, I think it's important to stop and think that we have 12 games left. And in my opinion, it's 12 finals.
Right.
We need to take every game per weekend, not think ahead, and just focus on each game and get the most that we can from each game. And I think if we go to the weekend thinking it's a final and we need these points, I think we're like you said, we're in a great spot. We have 2 games in hand, and we haven't had a great season, but you look at the table and we have a great chance to not just be 8th place, but even be able to climb that table even more. But like I said, we have to take it game by game and focus on whatever's in front of us.
I can't wait to have another conversation with you in a couple of months and be like, remember when we were talking about the climb up the table when we were sitting at the bottom of it? I cannot wait. It's going to be great. Saturday night, it seems like forever since you guys have been at Al Lang. It's original era night. And again, all the information, how to get tickets for everybody watching, rowdysoccer.com. I mean, there's such a rich history, and you and I have talked about the tradition with this club, and to be able to honor the original era and the guys that really have paved the way, 3-4 decades later. I mean, what is that like to be able to have kind of that backing and knowing that these guys are going to be honored on a very special night?
No, it's amazing. I mean, without them, the club wouldn't be where it is now. And I had the opportunity last week to speak to a couple of them and the stories that they passed on to us and what they had to go through for us to be able to enjoy what we have now. It's crazy. It's a complete different world that we lived in compared to what they had to deal with and the facilities and everything. I mean, but no, just talking to them and knowing that they're going to be here. It's a special game, special occasion. And obviously, like I said, we need those 3 points, but it would mean a lot for us to get those 3 points in front of historic players of the club.
Rowdysoccer.com, all the information on there. How about those kits, man? The white with the those things are. I'm looking at the picture now with you in the locker room there, man. Those things are bad. You guys have had some nice. I know the results may not have been worked out as much as we've liked, but I tell you what, the kit game has been strong in 2025.
Yeah, honestly, all 4 of them now that we have are really nice. One of my favorites is it's a black jersey, but that new one that we're using for the anniversary this weekend, I think it's really, really nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. I cannot wait because I know how, and I've learned so much about the Rowdies over the years, and I know he's not in the original era, but become so tight with a guy like Jeff Attinella, who's, a big reason why there's a second star there. And, do you guys ever, maybe not in the middle of the season, but maybe do you ever like daydream and think like what it would be like to win another championship and to be able to get that 3rd star above the crest?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's everyone's goal at the beginning of the year, and that's why we play. We want to be successful, and we want to bring history to the club. And unfortunately, throughout my 6 years, I've been a bit short of it, but I really don't want to leave this club without putting a star up there. So hopefully it happens soon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I always like asking when I have one of the 4 you guys on about the whole, I call you guys the core 4 with you, Forrest, Leo, and Lewis. And, what is it like for the 4 of you guys as far as when you're going through a season like this? How important is it for you older guys to be able to set that example to some of these younger guys? Because again, it's easy to be those leaders when things are going well, and you guys all train your ass off. I've watched you do it in person many times, but how important is it for you older guys to be able to kind of band together and be like, hey man, even though things may not be going well, like, and the results aren't showing, we got to stay with it, because eventually if we do the right thing in our process, the results will follow.
Yeah. I mean, I think the staff do a good job as well to help out us four, or the experienced players, the older players, whatever you want to call. But I think we started playing this game because we love it, right? So I think it's the important thing to show up every day and do it because of that reason. Yeah, we're here to compete and win a trophy and everything, but at the end of the day, you're doing it because you love it. And it's our job to put performances and get results for the fans. So I think everything starts with the love, and just feeling that love from the club, from the fans. That gives you that energy, especially here at home when you have the fans backing you up. I think it's an unbelievable feeling to know that we're fortunate enough to play for this club and the history that it represents.
It's rabid too, man. I was there for the game, unfortunately, against, listen, I was glad that I was there, but the game against Orlando, it didn't work out. But, regardless of what the score was, man, there's people still going crazy. Like, that's got to be cool, man, because it doesn't happen everywhere. Is that a Rowdies thing, a soccer thing? Because, like, I've seen baseball games where teams get blown out. Everybody's heading for the hills. They're out of there. See ya. We're not cheering anybody. We're not clapping anybody on at the end of the game. But, man, you guys didn't have a great outcome there, and there's people still there. I mean, is that a Rowdies thing, a soccer thing? Is that just the culture of the sport?
Honestly, I think it's a Rowdy thing. I think we're fortunate enough to have a loyal fan base in good and bad years. I always felt that they're behind us, always pushing us, always expecting us to do better than we always do. But that's what they deserve, because they're here. It doesn't matter if it rains, if it's hot, if it's humid. They're here, and we appreciate that a lot, because that gives us that extra boost to go out there and run and perform and compete. But no, they're unbelievable, and we always feel their support.
All right, so what's going on in the Guillen household, man? What are things? How are things? What are you guys watching on TV? What's the popular thing on the tube right now?
Honestly, there's not a lot of going on. There's a lot of chasing the little girl. She's 18 months now, so now.
Oh my gosh!
Our time is chasing her around and enjoying her grow and see all the new things that she could do. But no, whenever we have a chance, we just finish a show on Netflix called Waterfront, I believe it's called.
Okay.
So that's a good watch if anyone wants to spend some time on Netflix.
I love that, man. Yeah, it's funny chasing around the little ones. Did that change you becoming a dad? Did that change you as an athlete as far as how you looked at the game? And the reason why I love asking this question, because I had a conversation with Steven Souza, used to be on the Rays many years ago, and I asked him because he was just about to be a dad, and he goes, I don't know if things will be different. And he comes back to me one day and he grabbed me. He's like, you are so right. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I struck out 4 times last night and I didn't even care after the game because I knew I was going home to my little one. How did that change your perspective on maybe, of course, it changed your perspective on life, but how did that change your perspective on your career being a dad?
Yeah, I just think it's different. Like he said, I think it's, for us, it's important to leave work at home. I mean, work at work and not bring it home. Because the kids have no idea what's going on and they just want to see you. They're excited. And you do kind of forget what's going on at work. And it's nice to get home and just pull your full energy into your household, your wife, your kids, whatever you have going on. But yeah, it did change a mentality, that switch. After games, I used to get home and just be mad and not be able to talk and just too focused on the result or whatever. I played bad, whatever it is. But now you get home and you have a little one running at you, and it's just a completely different feeling. And if you have kids, you know what that feeling is.
Yeah, it just disappears, man. It just disappears. All right, last one before you go. What's kind of the mindset for you? I mean, going forward here, because I know what the team is, but for you, playing in your position and just looking at how things have changed, bringing in some new players, what's your focus as the captain of this team, and as a guy that's relied on heavily as the team looks to turn this baby around?
No, I think the most important thing is just be available to what the coaching staff wants to do, and just adapt to whatever they want to do, and just stick to the plan. I think just you have to try and stay healthy, keep doing the right thing, come out to training, do everything 100%, and just be ready for whatever the coaches and the staff need.
Oh, I meant to ask this. Sorry, I know this is because I probably won't talk to you before then. In a couple of weeks, they're going to be here, Sacramento, and we know that Neil Collins is going to be joining. I mean, Neil, I've talked to Neil a couple of times since he's left. What is that going to be like to be able to face off with Neil in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Neil was the one that brought me here.
Yeah,
we have a lot of good memories together. I think we built a good relationship off the field too. So I think it's going to be a special night for both of us. Obviously for him, he was here for a very long time as a player and as a coach. So I think it'll be special for everyone that knows Neil, and how much he cared about this city and this club. So yeah, I think it's going to be a special one, and hopefully we have a celebration at the end of the game.
you got that right. We'll say, hey, Neil, great to see you, and then come away with the 3 points because we need them, baby. That's for sure. Rowdiesoccer.com, all the information on there. Get your tickets on there. Big match Saturday night, August 16th. It's a late one, 9 p.m., so you can watch it after the Bucks preseason game against the Steelers. I know a lot of people are happy about that. Against Phoenix Rising FC. It's original era night there at Al Lang. Tune in, ESPN2. Our guy Aaron Guillen and the crew will be there. AG, always great to catch up with you, my friend. Give my love to the entire club, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
You got it, buddy. Aaron Guillen, the captain of our Tampa Bay Rowdies. We love those guys. He's just such a good dude. Man, I have belief. I have the belief, man, that the Rowdies going to turn this thing around. I really do. It's kind of wild when you look at the standings because, like I was just mentioning to Aaron, they're in last place. They're in 12th out of 12 teams in the East. But with that being said, they have 18 games played. The Rhode Island FC, they have 20 games played, right? And the Rowdies are only 4 points behind. You get 3 points for a win. You win both those games in hand. You got 23 points. You're in 7th place. Forget about 8th. You're in 7th place, right? So, and again, the form is better. 3 of the last 5. I mean, you're starting to look at this team, Dominic Cassiano, being able to put the right things in place. And for those people that really are big on goal differential, they're -7. The 2 teams ahead of them are -10 and -9. So I look at this Rowdies team, and I think they are very close to turning this thing around. You know, of course, Louisville and Charleston, they're above pretty much everybody else at 44 and 41. But then you have North Carolina at 29. And then 8th place Rhode Island at 21. So there's a chance, man, if they can turn this thing around. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they can bring to the table. And when you have guys like Aaron Guillen, when you have guys like Leo Fernandez and Forrest Lasso and Lewis Hilton leading the way, they can do it, man. They really can. So a big thank you to Aaron Guillen for joining us on the program, Jake Nutting, and everybody over there at the Tampa Bay Rowdies, President Ryan Helfrich. Got a lot of love for those guys. Really, really great people. Oh, man. All right, so the other thing. Let's not forget. Just making sure. Okay. 2 o'clock today. Steelers and 2 o'clock today, Steelers and Buccaneers will practice. So there you go from there. I'm just trying to make sure. On the ground in Pittsburgh, this is from our friends at Joe Bucks, and Mike Tomlin says Jalen Ramsey will take on Mike Evans today, even if other corners want a piece of him. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll believe that when we see it. Wanted to talk again about the whole thing that happened yesterday with the Tampa Bay Lightning with the new arena name. It's got 19,000 views on Twitter. Out Amalie Arena in Benchmark International Arena. Let's go watch the game let's go watch the game at the BIA. That does not sound good at all. The BIA. What are we going to call the new arena for the Tampa Bay Lightning? The bench? I guess we call it the bench. The mark doesn't sound good. The benchmark? Let's go watch it at Benchmark. I don't know. I mean, think about it like this. The Florida Panthers play at Amerant Bank Arena. That doesn't really roll off the tongue either. Amerant Bank Arena. It is what it is, but who cares? And at the end of the day, as long as you win, that's the most important thing. Our good friend Lynden Blake is going to join us from Outkick a little bit. Did you guys watch the Taylor Swift appearance on New Heights with the Kelsey brothers? We'll discuss that here momentarily. Let's see if there's any other big news. The hearing for Rashee Rice with the NFL is going to be September 30th, so we'll see how that goes. Also, something in the documentary that just came out here recently about Tom Brady saying that he questioned Wayne Rooney's work ethic at Birmingham City when he was the head coach there. I thought that was out of line too. And Wayne Rooney said Tom Brady's criticism was unfair. And I couldn't agree with you more. Like, if you're a guy that's going into a place where you don't really know the sport all that well, yeah, you own it, and you're going the day before a game. Listen, there's 2 days that are very unique when it comes to being at a place, whether it's professional sports or otherwise. And that's before the game, a day before the game, and a day after the game. It's unlike anything else because sometimes the day before a game is chaos. Sometimes it's the calm before the storm. The day after a game is sometimes like a hurricane just went through and everybody's like, oh my gosh. And other times it's kind of very upbeat and everybody's happy and it's just like you're on cloud nine. So I thought that was a little bit unfair from Tom Brady when I first saw it. And then to hear what Wayne Rooney had to say, I couldn't agree with him more. All right. So let's check this out. The Associated Press all-time All-American first team. Oh, you guys ready for this? Let's check this out together. I'll share my screen with you. How nice is this? AP All-America first team. Let me see if they put this up on ESPN at all. Bear with me, guys. No, they didn't. It's weird. ESPN is weird with their social media. Sometimes they don't post much of anything at all. Like, what are y'all doing? All right, check this out. AP All-American all-time first team. And there we go. First team offense, wide receivers, Randy Moss from Marshall in 1997, Larry Fitzgerald, Pittsburgh, 2003. Tackles, Bill Frelick from Pittsburgh on one side, Orlando Pace from Ohio State. At guard, we have Jim Parker, Ohio State, 1956, John Hanna, Alabama, 1972. And then look at the center, Chuck Bednarik from Penn in the 40s. Tight end, Brock Bowers, Georgia, 2023. Quarterback, Tim Tebow, Florida, 2007. Your running backs, Barry Sanders in 1988, Herschel Walker in 80, 81, and 82 from Oklahoma State and Georgia, respectively. Wow. Next one we look at. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Kicker, Sebastian Janikowski, 98 and 99 in Florida State. And then Johnny Rogers is your punter from Nebraska, 1972. Defense, Hugh Green, Pittsburgh from 78 to 80. Randy White in Maryland, 1974. Your tackles, look at these two guys. Ndamukong Suh in Nebraska, 2009. Bronco Nagurski, Minnesota, 1929. Your linebackers are Dick Butkus from Illinois, Derek Thomas from Alabama, and Chris Spielman from Ohio State. Your corners are Charles Woodson and Deion Sanders. Your safeties are Ronnie Lott and Ed Reed. And your punter is Torrey Taylor from Iowa. I love this list. This is great. Oh, man, think about that defense. Your safeties are Ronnie Lott and Ed Reed. You got Charles Woodson and Deion Sanders. Like, holy shit, man. That's cool as hell. The offense, I mean, Tim Tebow. I am not a Gator, right? I I didn't go to Florida. I'm not a Gator fan per se. But I tell you what, man, there is very few players that have made an impact in my lifetime in 4 decades plus of living on this earth like Tim Tebow. And I know it pissed people off. I know people think he was overrated. And I'm not talking about whether he was a good NFL player or not, because to me, that kind of thing doesn't really matter. Like, we're not talking about Tim Tebow as a Denver Bronco. I totally forgot who he was playing for. Even though he won that playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I get it. But at that time, Tim Tebow in 2007 for that Florida Gators team during that era, there was nobody like him. Nobody. And whether it was the guy that came in the short yardage situations with Chris Leak as your normal and your regular quarterback, or when he was the leader himself, there was no college football quarterback like Tim Tebow. I don't care what your Heisman Trophy voting was. I don't care. We're not talking about, and I know Bobby Bowden's like, oh, Florida State was the most dominant team. Okay. Jameis Winston was not a better college quarterback than Tim Tebow. Neither was Cam Newton. Neither was Peyton Manning. Neither was Tom Brady. Neither was any. I don't care who you're talking about. There was no better college quarterback, in my opinion, than Tim Tebow. And I'm not just talking about, a traditional passer or numbers. I'm talking about leaders. I'm talking about guys that just won. He was a winner. He was a leader. He did whatever it took to win. Think about now, after seeing the Swamp Kings thing, what that kid had to deal with to be successful. That's kind of the underlying thing that doesn't get mentioned enough. And Benny says it too here. 2000s Gators were all criminals. You know who wasn't criminal? Him. You're talking about this guy that is pure as the driven snow. Shell shock. Having to live with all these guys and to perform at that level. I mean, I can't say enough great things about him. I hate that he gets the heat that he gets. I think, listen, it comes with the territory, but it's not biased at all. No, I don't think so at all. There's no college quarterback that I've ever seen in my life quite like Tim Tebow. And he was a winner. I mean, you look at what his statistics were. You win 2 national championships and a Heisman. I mean, you're in that conversation, just the way it is. But that's really cool. AP All-American list, first team. Deion Sanders being there too. I mean, you look at the guys that are on that list and you think about it. Like Ndamukong Suh was so good at Nebraska. But you look at the guys on that list and then you look at the guys, how good they are in the pros. Like Deion Sanders and Ed Reed. You look at those 2 guys especially and just the guys in the secondary, Charles Woodson and Ronnie Lott. Like, think about it. There was no drop-off when those guys got to the pros. We know that there was with Tim. We know there was with Herschel Walker. But when you look at Barry Sanders, when you look at Randy Moss, when you look at Larry Fitzgerald, when you look at Lott and Reed and Woodson and Sanders, like, there's no drop-off with those guys. Orlando Pace. Like, I mean, my God. Phenomenal. And I love the list. And, all the hate when it comes to Tim Tebow, to me, it says more about you than it does Tim Tebow. And this is a kid that grew up in New York, and this is a kid that lived in Florida for the last 20 years. You're hating on Tim Tebow. It's just like, what are you going to go punch a kitten next? Like, I don't quite get it. You got to give respect where respect is earned, because that guy's earned it. No doubt about it. Love lists like that are promoting positivity rather than bashing people all the time. That is for sure. Make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, and shout out to our guy, Jeff Taylor. Forget the Gators, go Noles. However, Tim Tebow, hysterical in those Heisman Husky. He is. And again, I've mentioned this before. I grew up, and if there was one college football team that I rooted for, it was Florida State, because I loved Charlie Ward. That was my guy. He played point guard for the Knicks. And I just love what they were all about. And then learning about the history, I loved, seeing what Deion did, even though he went to the Cowboys. But I was a fan of Derek Brooks. I really liked Chris Wenke and Peter Warwick and Warwick Dunn. So it was just easy to – and I had a Florida State hat. Like, I liked the Noles. when I came down here, I started being a little bit more of a fan of the Gators and just kind of cheering them on. And I always joke with my pals that if I grew up down here, I'd probably be a Miami fan. But now it's USF, baby. Go Bulls all the way. That's the most important thing, to cheer on our Tampa teams. But we're just lucky. And the sports world is better. College football is better when all those teams are good. So when people are trying to prey on the downfall of Norvell and all these different people, like, we want them to be good. The fact that USF is going to Gainesville and to South Florida to play those guys, like, it's super important that those teams are good. It's better for us here locally, and it's better for college football as a whole. What's going on to my guy Kevin Roger in the house? We'll talk about future pros. He's got a left-hander that's going to be on the mound somewhere for a big school here in the near future. That is for sure. All right, let's bring her in. I think she's here. Is she here? The great Lynden Blake is going to join us on the program.
Do you see me?
There she is.
I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Look at you all jazzed up for your second appearance on the pod today.
I know. We're like my Vanderbilt dress.
I was going to say, you look all Vandied out.
I know. It's big, everyone reported this week. So we're getting back in the saddle,
So last time you joined us, you were Alex City superstar. Today, you're the ultimate Swifter, Lynden.
I'm glad you didn't put Swifty, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was thinking about it, how to sum it up in an even more concise form. I think Swifties, and Taylor referenced this on the podcast, like, love Easter eggs, and I'm not going to hunt the Easter eggs. So I'm a Swifter because I'm a fan.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we established this last time you were here with us. You're not a Swifty, you're a Swifter. You're a more mature, dedicated, well-balanced Taylor Swift fan. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. No. So how are things over there in SEC country? Are you guys getting ready for college football?
Yes. So excited for college football. I think after the 4th of July, I have seasonal depression in the summer because I just get really bored. When I lived in Tampa, you have the Rays to carry you through. And then here in Nashville, you can watch the Braves or whatever, but it's not the same as living in a major league baseball market. So I get really sad because football is not here. And then I just start thinking, because I don't really cover local sports anymore, but I was like, is it weird if I just go watch some high school football practices? Like, is that frowned upon? Because I just need to feel something,
You are one of a kind, my friend.
But 2 weeks away, so I only have to be sad for 2 more weeks. I can do it. I'm strong.
So now, like, being up there, is it all Vandy all the time? Is it like, where are we still? Because Auburn, where are we at now with our allegiance and our love in the Lynden Blake Balliol world?
I was gonna say, for Nashville in general, I would still say obviously Tennessee is king.
Okay.
The Vols. For me, Auburn football has been a tough watch. Didn't even make a bowl game last season. And last season, Vanderbilt was a very fun watch. I will definitely be at more Vanderbilt games this year than Auburn games. And I always say my allegiance is to who pays me, not who I pay. So obviously I have to give allegiance to Vanderbilt. It supports the family. But I will always have that love for Auburn. And Auburn does play at Vanderbilt this year in football.
Oh, wow.
And that's tough because, and we're going to get into this, but I just like Vanderbilt's coaching staff, their players. I like their aura. I like what they give off. I like what they represent. I like who they're becoming. It's really fun to be up close and watch the progression.
Wow. I can't even, is any of your family members going to that game?
Yes.
Oh,
so,
and they're going to be rocking the Auburn, right?
Of course. And that's,
oh man.
It's always a topic of discussion, but they came to the Auburn Vanderbilt basketball game last season when Auburn played up here in Nashville against Vanderbilt and they rocked Auburn, but you cannot fault, you have to respect the fanhood.
Right.
I've always felt like that way with Alabama fans. I hate people that get butthurt, oh, you're coming into our stadium and you're not why would you want fake fans?
Right.
Don't you want someone that like really goes for you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't you want your fans to come off passionate, involved, in the know? Or do you just care that people are in t-shirts of your team and they can't even name the quarterback?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think
What do you want?
I think it's strange too when people get so upset that there's other fans in their building. It's like they paid their hard-earned money, man. If you win, then they're gonna go home unhappy. Like I think it's
I
just
always respect the fan.
yeah, exactly. If you're gonna go into hostile enemy territory, and I've done that before, then hey, kudos to you if you have the gumption and the guts to do something like that.
Mhm.
Any given Saturday on Netflix, your thoughts on that whole thing? And it just seems like that's kind of a win for Vanderbilt before the season, right?
Did you watch the documentary?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched a good chunk of it.
Okay. Yeah, 7 episodes. It's a time commitment. Great win for Vanderbilt. I would say Vanderbilt, if you're looking at it from a recruiting standpoint and you're thinking worldwide Netflix, I mean Vanderbilt looked amazing.
Yeah.
They made, I mean, you don't have to make Nashville look cool, but you're showing Broadway leading up to showing the opening shot of like football practice.
Right.
And you have Diego Pavia, who I truly think this entire Netflix documentary is centered around. He's a character, he is a personality, and he is a winner. And so you're drawn to people that are confident like that. And I think it just made Vanderbilt look amazing. You have Clark Lee, who is Nashville native, played at Vanderbilt, loving his city like he does, and saying, I want to take Vanderbilt to the best of the best. I mean, it just looked really, really, it boded well for Vanderbilt. I think it also made South Carolina look really good because obviously they had an amazing season last year. I think other schools, like I think Auburn, and this is, you can't get mad about this because we're analyzing Netflix. We're analyzing entertainment, But Auburn looked horrible. They looked boring. They looked vanilla. They looked soft. They looked like it was just like down. Like it brought me down when they went to like the Auburn episode. And even they showed Auburn beating Texas A&M and the multiple overtime game. I was just like, no one. It just the excitement level wasn't there. And I thought from a recruiting standpoint, Hugh Freeze, I just don't think he came off relatable in this documentary at all. So it was a very interesting take. And I didn't think about this when I was watching it because I was just really curious to see how it was portrayed, how it was set up, just like taking it all in. But a lot of my friends were like, it's from last season. Like, why do I care? Like, we're moved on. And that's a valid point. Like, maybe it should have dropped in February.
Yeah, but that's the thing too, is like you need time, and that's what they do a lot now. And I watched the you ever watch the Drive to Survive for F1?
No.
You should you and Chad would love it. So I'm not a big car guy, right? But our good pal Paul Kennedy from spent many years with the Lightning and the Orlando
He's
Magic.
an Auburn guy. He's an Auburn guy.
He's unbelievable. So he goes, Jay Bird, let me tell you something. I go, what's up, PK? He goes, you gotta watch F1's Drive to Survive on Netflix. I go, PK, I'm not really a big car guy. That's not really my thing. He goes, Jay, trust me, it's amazing television. I go, okay, PK, if you say so. Lynden, I watched 5 seasons without taking a meal, I think. It was amazing. They say that Drive to Survive is the one that is like the bar setter. And then everything else is, and these are people that don't even like really watch racing or I don't necessarily watch, like I followed a little bit more now, but I don't like get up in the morning to watch it. But I know the names now because of Drive to Survive. But they say that out of all the sports type ones, like any given Saturday, that the F1 is number 1.
Okay.
And then everything else, you got to check it out. It's amazing.
I know you're a WWE guy, and I thought Unreal was fantastic.
Yes.
If you even know absolutely nothing about wrestling, or even if you do know, it was cool to see the production, how everything is produced.
And it's funny that you say that, and you know how much I love wrestling. The fact that I can't tell you, I can't be 100% sure that F1's not better. Think about
Okay.
that. And
Well,
I love that.
I like that though, because
Yeah.
like I loved Unreal, and I was like comparing Any
It was
Given
amazing.
Saturday to Unreal. I'm like, Unreal was the more interesting watch across the board, whether you're a fan or not a fan. I think you
Right.
really have to be a football fan to enjoy Any Given Saturday. But okay, Drive to Survive.
Yeah, F1. And again, but the thing is the reason why I bring that up is because it comes out right before the next season, like right before.
Okay.
So it's almost like a precursor. It's the same thing for the Any Given Saturday thing. It's almost like an appetizer for the season to come. But they need to, like, you have to, like, they can't just drop it right after the season ends, because they have to do all the production and they have to do all the editing. Like, it takes
And
a
I
while.
think for sure they were shooting, like there were film crews, like the Netflix film crews were in Nashville in February at Bluebird Cafe when my family was there filming for that documentary. They were also in one of the scenes, you see Diego Pavia doing yoga at this place in 12th South, and that was shot in February, and they showed it like leading up to the Vanderbilt Auburn game, like in the documentary. But that was shot in February. I'm sure he still went to yoga on Monday, you know, 5 days before game day. But I think they did a lot of the post production, the interviews and everything, obviously after the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Which does make the turnaround time kind of tough.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But yeah, you got to check that out. And Netflix, they're hitting home run after home run after home run.
It's so helpful. It really is.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of home runs or grand slams or walk-off home runs, so I tuned in last night at 7:30 just so I could see what I'm in the middle of a baseball field coaching these kids, and I'm like, I need 60 seconds. And I pick up my phone and I go, I want to go on YouTube right now, and I want to see how many people in the world are watching the New Heights podcast with Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey, and Taylor Swift. And when I picked up my phone, it was 1.2 million people on YouTube. Unbelievable. I'm not surprised, because when she announced that she was going to be on there, everybody freaked out and they lost their mind.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just the fact that we'll talk about that first. What about the attention from when they announced it to when it happened? Like that 48 hours or so. I mean, that was pretty intense to know that like she's going to do a podcast, her first one ever. Like, that was pretty cool to be able to see that.
When you give someone availability that never gives anyone availability, like Taylor Swift is not available. Like, she doesn't make herself available. Why should she? She doesn't need to. Even in her social media, like when you see her post a picture with her cat, Swifties are on, you know, pins and needles, because you don't get that from her. You get the professional, you get the album releases, whatever. So the fact that you were going to get in podcast form too, just a conversation with Taylor Swift, like that, it was the best thing for that podcast. And obviously they're going to never top it. Kind of sucks, because I mean, you're just never going to top it.
Right.
But I was so excited because I am a football fan too. Like, I love football. Football people have watched New Heights for years. And so I love when things overlap, and I like going behind the curtain, and I like seeing it. So I just think it was a win for everybody. I think the Swifties, you know, tried to make it very much like a Swiftie thing, but I think it was cool that they did talk about so much football in it too, and see how Travis kind of has gone into her world, but how she's kind of fit into his world as well. But it was great. I could watch it again, honestly.
Yeah, I watched like the first 25 minutes of it today, and just from the early returns, what it really showed to me was that even if you don't have a ton of things on the surface level in common with your significant other, if you give a concerted effort to caring and learning about what they're passionate about, I think automatically that is like a magnet that brings two people together.
You know what, Jay?
Right?
I'm going to talk about this on Outkick later today, because that was one of the biggest things I took away. And it's a great lesson for anyone who's single, honestly, or anyone who is frustrated with their partner.
Right.
People try to date someone. I'm going to get like all Dr. Phil here.
No, you're good. I've been watching a lot of
People-
Dr. Phil lately. It's funny that you say that.
People
No, I
try
swear.
to date someone that is the carbon copy of them
Right.
way too many times. They have a list, and it's like, what's the fun in that? Date someone that can teach you something and you can grow with that person. This is kind of embarrassing because I'm married to a track coach now that ran the steeplechase, one of his favorite events. I had never heard of the steeplechase. Like, I had never heard of it when I met Chad 4 years ago. Just like we can get into it with Taylor, like didn't know that defense and offense were on the
Right.
field at the same time. Like it's shocking that she didn't know that, but I'm like, this should show people. I have friends, I don't even care that I'm calling them out. Like I have friends that are CrossFitters. Only want to date a CrossFitter. Want to date a CrossFitter that's a better CrossFitter than them. And I'm like, maybe that hasn't worked out the last 3 CrossFitters you've dated. Like maybe we try a tennis player. Like maybe you can teach that tennis player how to do some
Right.
Olympic lifts. Like it was such a refreshing dynamic to see. And it's a good lesson. And I hope people take that away from this.
Yeah, it's a great point because you know me, Mr. Sports. The last young lady I dated, I was talking to her one time in one of our first dates. I was like, "Hey, the game's almost over. It's in the 7th inning." And then she texts me back like, "Hey, not to be weird, but I don't know what an inning is." And I'm like, "Oh wow, okay, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's." But I was excited. It was, you learn, and it shows that you really care. And I think for her, then she talks about, "Oh, I got really excited when you guys drafted Xavier Worthy." Like, there's just something about that. There's something. I don't. People always say like, "Oh, women, guys too." Like, you want to learn something new, and if you can, achieve something, you get to an opportunity where like you guys are working together, and then I think you find things that you have in common that way, right? Because you both are experiencing something for the first time. He was so like into her getting her master's back, right? And just the music
Yeah.
side, and you can tell like she's not just some fawning woman that's just like learning, like he's doing his part too, right? This
Yeah.
isn't just Taylor Swift falling in love with Travis Kelce. This is Travis Kelce falling in love with Taylor Swift. And I thought, as much as people usually tune into that podcast for football, like that was like a real like relationship. There was a lot of relationship kind of advice that permeated through that entire chat.
And having her talk about it, like back in 2019, whenever Scooter Braun like first bought her record masters, whatever you call it, from Big Machine, I remember thinking like, I probably even tweeted about it. I was like, why are you being such a brat? Like I did not get it, but actually hearing her talk about it and understanding like her great great grandchildren are now going to benefit from
Yeah.
like the work she did, like it makes so much sense. And Chad even rewind that part last night because we watched it he was working while I was watching it, but then when he got home I was watching it again with him, and he like rewound the masters part and started over because he's like, I didn't really get that. And I'm like, no, it's really
Right.
complicated, but it was really cool to see how Travis he got it, and they're trying to teach it to Jason. But yeah, it's very interesting, and I like how they found the similarities in their fields, which a lot of people can do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What else did you learn? Was there anything new that you learned from last night that maybe you didn't know about Taylor or the situation? I know how plugged in and tuned in you are.
I learned a lot of words. Jason, Kelsey, and I think we're enlightened. I wrote some of them down. I don't know if I can like bring it up when I'm in here, so I'm gonna try to go off memory. Triskaidekaphobia is the fear of the number 13.
Okay.
Trichodecaphilia is the love of like the number 13.
Okay.
That's from Taylor. That's sourced by Taylor.
Okay.
The dictionary doesn't have that word. So like I don't know if she's like campaigning to invent it,
Right.
but she said that word a lot. Esoteric.
Okay, esoteric's a real word. I know that.
Yeah, yes. No, Trigadelpha. That one's the philia version is the only one that I could not look up. She said contrarium. I think she meant contrarian. Like,
Okay.
oh, you're just being contrarian. Like, I'm gonna sound like Shakespeare at the bar from here on out. Because and then the Forta there's another word.
There's another one in there.
An F word. And if I had my list, I could read it to you.
That's
but
okay.
It's whatever. But I learned like that was like really interesting to me. And my favorite part of the entire thing was when she would use those big words, Travis would be like, huh, and like do something, and she'd be
Yeah.
like, you know what that means. Like,
Mhm.
you know what trichodecaphobia means.
Mhm.
Like that
That's
was
what
very
yeah.
interesting to me. What else I learned about Taylor? I thought it was very interesting that she sees the crowd and like takes in the crowd as much as she does on tour on a very like deep level, because and the older I get, I'm like, maybe that is just kind of her. But when I was younger, I used to be like, okay, stop acting shocked at award shows. Stop like dancing like crazy at the award shows and like no one else is dancing. Like, are you doing this to like be like, look at me? And like, so like when you see her on stage and you see her just like taking it all in, you're like, are you really taking it in? And she was like, I really am taking it in. And I just think that that's her. I
Right.
think she's a very like just deep person and obviously feels big feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just hearing her talk about it so casually makes everything she does that we've watched the past 2 decades make sense.
And how did you think the Kelsey brothers did? Not just Travis, but Jason.
I think Jason's great.
Yeah.
Like, I think he did his homework. I
He
think
did, didn't he?
he did. Like, you could tell he really wanted to make this great, and I love that. Like how much they care about the podcast. Like they could have got on there with Taylor Swift and played tic tac toe, and it would have been a success. But I love how Jason was like, no, let's actually like let's talk about the Masters. Let me research this.
Right.
Let me research how many cities you went to and how many countries you went to, and let's talk about it. And I love how he kept being like, okay, now we talked about that. Did I miss anything else? Like you did the interviewer. Is there anything else you want to add or
Mhm.
whatever? And I'm glad he brought up the Happy Gilmore 2 and to just really confirm that she was not the bear in the movie because that was going around.
Right.
And I think like besides the dating opposites, the biggest life takeaway that I think we all could benefit from is hearing her say she doesn't live her life online and she doesn't like
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. I think that when she said that, your energy is expensive or your energy is a luxury, like you be careful who you give it to, be aware of how you're spending it, like that type of stuff, I thought was very refreshing to know because you figured she's not in her Instagram DMs, but to have someone be so famous and that could just constantly be flaunting how cool her life is in front of
Right.
everybody, I kind of like that she's like, I am not online. So you can talk about me, you can say all these things, you can say all the rumors, whatever. Like, I may be like, did you see where they thought I was the bear? And then we're back to making sourdough bread.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you because it is refreshing to hear her say that because I'm with that too, and I tend to think that about myself. Like, how much would I be on Twitter if it wasn't my career, right? Like, I
But
like
also,
getting in.
we
Yeah.
judge ourselves on interactions online, especially when you're in media, and especially
Yeah.
now with social media, where it used to not be like that. Like, it used to just be you put your best work out there, you publish it, and now
Mhm.
it's like no. And on top of being accurate and being a good writer and all that kind of stuff, you have to have a good social media presence too. And
Yeah.
it's very hard to get like caught up in that. And I think it is refreshing to just be like, you know what, I can just post that and walk away. Like I don't
Right.
have to sit there and analyze.
She said 20 million DMs, and I think she was just kind of like saying that tongue in cheek. But then I thought to myself, if there's one person that has 20 million DMs, it might be her. Right?
I
Like
can't
20 million? Jesus.
But yeah, I mean, I think though too, and I think that also a good lesson. I don't think any of the big celebrities. Well, one, we obviously know there's a team running their social media,
Right.
but two, it's like it's not that big of a deal to them because
Yeah.
it is so overwhelming, and
Mhm.
like you don't need to be on Twitter and Instagram on your yacht because well mainly because the paparazzi's going to post it for you, but
Right.
it's just like overwhelming, and that's I think she's very smart. Did you know her dad lives in St. Pete or lived in St. Pete?
Yes. Yes. Crazy, right?
That is kind of crazy.
Unbelievable. You could have been friends with her many, many moons ago when you were walking around
I know.
in your bell bottoms and your lifted shoes when you're running around covering the race.
Still rep. Bell bottoms. But no, yeah, like I mean St. Pete's great.
Wait.
Actually,
You
he
never
doesn't
rocked
live
bell
in-
You never rocked bell bottoms, you're telling
No, I
me
said I
that?
still do.
Oh, you still do. Okay, I was about to say. I was like, I've seen
Skinny
that.
jeans came back and I bought a pair last year and they looked disgusting
Not
on
good,
me.
huh?
So I was like, no.
Not
Like,
working.
I mean, this may be like a good thing. Like, I don't think like they don't fit my ankles right. Not that you
Okay.
can flex about having like smaller ankles. Like, who cares? I just don't like them. I don't like that.
She's not a fan, but we're a
Let the
fan of
ankle
her.
breathe.
Alex City's own, the ultimate Swifter, Lynden Blake. Follow her on all social media platforms at Lynden Blake from Outkick. We love you. Thank you so much. Continued success, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Jay.
You're
Bye,
the
guys.
best. See ya. The great Lynden Blake. She is amazing, unbelievable, so talented, so smart, so funny. We are so glad to have her on the program. What a show today. Another great show tomorrow. Again, we got Titus O'Neil, we got Ira Kaufman, we got Tim Benz joining us on the program Manana. A big thank you to Lynden Blake, Aaron Guillen, and our first guest today, John Sabol from up there in Cleveland. And, of course, our pal, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, residential commercial needs, 813-244-0956. You see him right there. Scan that QR code. Follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And a big thank you to our Super Chat participants today, Jeff Taylor and Richie P. We love you guys. Couldn't do it without you. That's going to do it for me. We'll see you tomorrow right here at noon on the Jay Recher Podcast.